Well, over the last couple of months, or should I say, I've talked about current events, I've talked about Michigan football, I've talked about superhero movies, but in this video, I'm going to go back and talk about, or I'm going to go back to an area which falls under one of the original intents for my blog, and that's education. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Anwar Youssef Dunbar, and the title of this video is There's More to Participate in Than Just Sports, or it's going to be some variation of that. This topic is something that's been rolling around in my mind for a while, and as with most of my videos and writings, there was a source of inspiration for this video. Actually, one is myself. As I've mentioned before, I'm working on a book project right now that's chronicling my high school basketball experience, which was my first success and failure lesson in life, and it's something that I think that helped me to go on to be successful later on and get my PhD from the University of Michigan. And there was a lot of character building and there was a lot of life lessons in that experience. So I'm going to talk about that more later on as the project gets finished and closer to completion. But there's something from that experience that I always think about, which I'm going to talk about in this video. And also, two of my cousins helped to inspire this video. Please click the like button if you haven't. Please share the video, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't. So who is this video for? This video is for everyone. It's for young people. It's for high school students aspiring to go to college and hoping to establish a career someday. It's for parents, aunts, uncles, grandparents, cousins, mentors. It's for everyone, with the hope that the message will trickle down to young people who are looking to go to college or establish some sort of career someday, and who are just looking to become well-rounded. So I have two cousins. I took a trip, I won't say where, but I took a trip this summer, and I have two cousins who are high school age. One is, I think, a sophomore going on to be a junior, and the other one is a freshman going on to be a sophomore. One of those two, I can't think of what exactly it is right now. But, their father is a sports enthusiast, and he has really pushed them to be involved in sports. And so I don't see these cousins often, and I do believe in the passage of information from generation to generation, from cousins to cousins, from relatives to relatives, whatever. I do believe if you know something, you pass it on so that the next person doesn't have to make the same mistakes that you did. So I took my cousins to Starbucks one morning, and we just had a little chat about high school and about life going forward. And I always try to teach them or give them something that they can benefit from. Maybe that their parents can't give them, or maybe some things that are out of their parents' knowledge set. I'm going to give them, or should I say, I'm planning to give them copies of Rich Dad Poor Dad. I think they can start to understand some of this stuff if they actually read the books. I don't know if they're actually going to read the books, but I think I should at least put the information in their hands so that they can partake in it if they choose to do so. I gave them a copy of the book, Turn $100 into $1 million. I can't think of the entire title right now, but it's called Turn $100 into $1 million. I'm going to leave a blog post in the description box below where I actually talk about that book in greater detail and why it's important for young people and why it was important for me as a person in my late 30s. And I'm going to leave a blog post also in the description box about mentoring, because this is a form of mentoring. The passage of information is mentoring, and why that's important. And even when you don't think the person you're mentoring is listening, you realize sometimes later on that they were, and that they got it. And oftentimes you don't learn of their appreciation for what you did and for what you said until later on. So all that's going to be in the description box below. Let's see. So when I look back at my high school experience, particularly on the basketball team, one of the things I remember is that basketball was my primary focus. And that's cool because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to win a city title. I wanted to win the sectional. I wanted to go to the state tournament, and I even had dreams of playing beyond high school. But here's the thing. When I look back and I look through my yearbooks, I realized that there were other things that I could have participated in besides just sports. And the reason I wanted to mention that to my cousins is because from my vantage point, it looks like they're being pushed into or encouraged to participate in just sports. And I didn't. And so when we went to Starbucks, I said, "Hey, have you guys ever thought about joining your student council or your inter-class council or your student government or the school newspaper, or doing something like the chess club or the drama team or the debate team?" And they basically said to me, "No, there's no time for that. That's okay." But I wanted to at least plant that seed in their minds that there are other things you can do besides sports. Other more cerebral activities, like the chess club, like the art club, like the debate team, like the National Honor Society, like the writing club, like the school newspaper, like the student council, like the theater club, like the National Honor Society, like the band. These are all things that were available to me at my high school, Hutch Tech High School in Buffalo, but that I didn't think to get involved in. At that time, I was I was a little bit more of a follower than I was a leader. I was a very insecure kid, and I thought mostly about basketball, girls, and social acceptance. But anyway, I digress. The point is that you want to develop yourself in other ways besides just athletics, and athletics does develop you in a lot of unique ways, but there are a lot of other things you can do. My father introduced me to the game of chess, though I didn't go in and do anything with it in high school. If I could go back, I would participate in the chess club. But one of my fondest memories is probably getting together with one of our buddies who's over in Africa right now. But I would go home to Buffalo and we would sit up in his place. Sometimes my brother would be there, sometimes he wouldn't. But we'd have some drinks to sip on, and we sit there all night just playing chess. And chess to me it might be the greatest game. Not football, not basketball, not tennis, not any of that. But chess, it's a thinking person's game. I was going to say thinking man, but in today's world, I'll just say thinking person. It's a game that requires you to think and to plan and to think moves ahead of where you are at the start. or where you are at a given moment. Um, and it just requires this three-dimensional long-term thought that may be in other games, but I can't think of those games right now. But it's something that I wish that I gotten more involved in earlier. And as I look around, I see a whole lot. I look around and some of my Facebook circles, and I look around at some of my other circles, and I see all these kids getting involved in these chess tournaments, these chess leagues, and they're traveling and meeting new people and experiencing the world just through the game of chess. So why am I saying all this? Why is this important? As kids of color, and this, of course, is universal as well, but as kids of color, we often only look at sports and entertainment and those kinds of things as things that we can do. But there's a whole buffet of other activities that we can get involved in to develop our minds and to develop ourselves in other universes and areas besides just athletics. Am I saying to not participate in athletics? No, because I did, and it was one of the best times of my life, and it was one of the most rewarding experiences of my life, even though we didn't win the state tournament or the sectional or the city title. There was so much more I got from that, even though we didn't meet those goals. What I am saying is, even if you are involved in sports, like my cousins are, there are other things you can do in addition to the sports if your time management is tight and spot on, and if you have the desire to do so. The other things that these other activities, the student government, for example, that translates into other areas going forward. I try to tell my cousin that, you could take those skills and you can run for public office at some point, or you might take those skills and start a company, or you might start something. So those skills are not just for right there in the high school world, but they're for other avenues and stations later on in life. My sophomore year, which was my first year on my high school basketball team, my mother insisted that I get involved in something called Youth Leadership of Western New York. And I did not appreciate it at the time. All I saw was that it was another activity that was going to conflict with me being on the basketball team. And in hindsight, and this is in the book that I'm writing, I realized that program was to, develop my mind. It was to get me to think about society and how society works and how government works. And it also brought me into contact with kids from other socioeconomic backgrounds. A lot of kids who are white from the suburbs. And I didn't understand how to interact with them at the time and how to become friends with them at the time. But it brought me into contact with kids from other areas, and it was a very, very valuable experience that I didn't take 100% advantage of at the time. So being involved in other activities besides sports translates into your life in college and into your life in the real world once you go to get a career started or whatever it is you try to do. Which brings me to my last point. I don't remember it being such a big emphasis when I was applying to college, but I know that after tutoring some of the kids here in Northern Virginia, colleges want to know what activities you're involved in, how you've grown yourself to be as much of a well-rounded individual as you can be. And so some kids are actually overloading trying to get involved in everything. But I think that there's an emphasis nowadays on being the most well-rounded and the most cultured person that you can be. And colleges just aren't looking to take in anyone, especially some of the more prestigious schools, colleges, and universities. So it's important to think about, in summary, it's important to think about what other things you can do besides just sports. If you blow out a knee, If you break an ankle, that can either temporarily sideline you or can permanently sideline you. You need some other things that you could do. When you go to apply for graduate school later on or to apply for a job, you need to be able to say what things you're interested in besides just your field of study. And that's where things like chess and the debate team and student government, all those things come into play later. You need to be able to speak and articulate yourself and think and plan and work in teams. So that's what I wanted to say. There's more that you can do. There's more that you can do besides just sports. So I'm going to stop the video here. Please let me know what you think in the comments section below, or if you have any stories of your own. Please share this one if you see a young person in your circle who has the potential to do great things. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Please share the video. And always remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Take care, and I'll talk to you the next time. Bye-bye. Hey folks, another quick outro here. I was thinking I might make this a separate video, but I figure I'll just tack this on here. So I shouted out my mom for getting me involved in youth leadership of Western New York, but one of the other things that I would have gotten involved in had the conditions been right is the band. My dad, shout out to my dad, was actually musical, and because he and my mother split, I did not get exposure to that knowledge set as a youth, just like baseball. And later on, I had to teach myself how to, play the keyboard a little bit, but you have to be regular with it. And because I'm doing so many things, I wasn't able to become regular with it. But I really later in life gained an appreciation for those people who can actually play instruments and make music. And if that's something that a young person gets turned on to early in life, I mean, actually making music, singing, or playing an instrument, or both, that can pay huge dividends later on. Okay, so that's all I got. I'm done. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.